So, arguably, one of the most talked about stories this week is, of course, Laurence Fox
It's
being.
inarguable. It's
It's
been wall to wall.
it's literally been, yeah. Laurence Fox has made quite a few headlines over the past week, to say the least, where he was arrested under the charge of, quote, conspiracy to commit criminal damage in regards to the ultra low emission zone cameras that have been actively taken down by a group known as Blade Runners. Cool name and my favorite film, I must say. So that is not an endorsement, though, obviously.
What, the film?
It's an endorsement of the film.
It's the endorsement of the film.
Activity against the government.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
exactly. But before we get started, I wanted to
It's my
say,
favorite film, but that's not an endorsement. Sorry.
before we get started, I wanted to say, I thought it would be appropriate as people feel that Britain is falling into a dystopian nightmare at the minute. Stelios and Connor done a fantastic symposium of the novel We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. I think I've said that right. I never heard of it until I watched the symposium, and I ended up like spending 50 quid on a load of dystopian books, including this one. Apparently, it set the ground for modern dystopian novels. So I'm really interested. So I'm looking forward to reading it. But yeah, they done a fantastic segment. So please go and check that out. Thought that was great. But right, so the official charge is yes. On Wednesday, the 4th of October, officers arrested Laurence Fox, 48-year-old man, on suspicion of conspiring to commit criminal damage to ULEZ cameras and encouraging or assisting offences to be committed. Now, initially, he put out a tweet before the live stream, which we'll go through first and see what you guys make of. I'm sure you guys have already seen it. In fact, no, we'll watch the video of Laurence Fox announcing whilst the police was actually in his house. So we'll do that.
Morning, guys. In London's knife-ridden capital city, where a 15-year-old girl was stabbed to death with a sword, we've got 1, 2, you can show them, 1, 2, another 3 upstairs, stealing, going through my house to intimidate me, because this is what the police are. They don't police with consent anymore. They police with fear and intimidation. That is the Stasi police force that we've got nowadays. Instead of being on the streets solving crimes like the murder of the poor 15-year-old girl, they're on all over social media. But I'd take it. The ULEZ scam cameras outside of London are the outer ULEZ zone is a complete scam. There's no scientific evidence. Sadiq Khan rubbished the evidence and had it rewritten to serve his own needs. No one voted it. It's the beginning and bringing in of a surveillance state. And he's trying to make noises so that I can't say that. It's the beginning of a surveillance state, and these boys are the Stasi. Stasi. Bless them. So have a lovely day. I'm going to spend my day in the clink, innit?
Why he shaved his head as well? Or?
He has, yeah, he has. What was your initial thoughts to this?
My initial thoughts is that there is absolutely no way Laurence Fox has ever seen an angle grinder. Like, there's just no way. I love Laurence, but he isn't. Like, they're searching for what, tools that he may have destroyed ULEZ cameras with, as if Laurence Fox. I get love Laurence. He's just not the sort of guy who has some sort of hacksaw around.
Yeah, Yeah, it's
no shade, Laurence. No. I don't either. I'm just saying we're not those guys.
No. What do you think, Callum?
I assumed actually they were looking for a contact because I believe he said he was in contact with someone who was going to, who was in the process of doing this. So the police want whoever that person is. Well, so that's why they seized his electronics, I thought.
Yeah, I would have thought the same because he put this tweet out, obviously, I believe the day before. Or no, not the day before, on the 26th of September 1st. And then, obviously, the live stream of Majid Nawaz, which he mentioned it. He said, just had a great chat with someone who wants to be a blade funder. They will put 10K behind the bar in a London hardware shop so that people can pick up angle grinders, and other ULEZ scammer dismantling tools for free. And he said, do get in touch if you want to be a blade runner.
Making more sense to me now.
Let's work together to tear down Chairman Sadiq Khan's surveillance state.
Right. Well, I'm not surprised the cops came after him.
Yeah. So he tweeted that, and then have you guys seen the comments on Majid Nawaz's live stream?
I mean, I saw that he did do a live stream. I saw the clip.
Yeah.
That's who Majid supports.
I'm not. I think I did put the clip in for Majid's stream. There it is, and I was thinking maybe we could go through it and just give thoughts.
Yeah.
Sure. So I suppose, do we need to play that in the Twitter thing?
Yes, please. If that's all
So we
right.
need to go back to Twitter and I believe click on it.
You're aware of the Blade Runners. Is there any particular message that you'd like to give about the ULEZ cameras, about the Blade Runners, about what's being done there, cutting down on the cameras? It's in the press every day. The police are now looking for them. They've arrested a couple. What is your, as Reclaim, what is your stance on the Blade Runners?
Well, yeah, again, this is where Andrew gets a bit annoyed with me because he says you can't encourage criminality. But I say it's digital fly tipping. But it's sticking up these cameras and stuff like that. It's just digital fly tipping. It wasn't there 5 minutes ago. Why should it be there now? I encourage them to tear down every single camera there is, and I will be joining them to tear down cameras as well, because I'm one of those people that puts my money where my mouth is. So I'm pretty close with several, and I will be. Yeah, I'll be out there with my angle grinder. I had a guy the other day phone me up and say, he's a very, very wealthy guy. And he said, I want to put, I'll put 10 grand behind the counter at, several Wixes in London. And anyone who wants to go and do some removal of this digital fly tipping, wants to go and clean up their community, can go and get an angle grinder for free. They can get all the gear that they need for free. And it's all on me. So I would encourage mass removal of the surveillance state, because once it's there, you cannot remove it.
Are you interested in testing the law around this if some people get arrested?
I would be happy to be arrested myself. So, I won't be, when I go out and take their cameras down, which I will be doing, I will be taking my phone with me so they know exactly where I am. Because the Blade Runners are clever. They know what they're doing. But I would happily sit there and sit in court and go, who voted for this? What's your evidence for the Outer London Clean Air Zone? What's your evidence for that? Why are you doing this? I'd sit there and do it, but I do that. I've got several court cases going on, as you know. But I would.
Okay.
If I'm going down, I'm going down big.
I don't really have much to say, really.
Well, I mean, obviously, don't break the law.
Yeah,
that's our official position.
The official position of the Lotus Eaters, yeah.
Of course.
But I can understand why someone would, and why he did say he's going to. And
of course, we're not disavowing Mr.
No.
Well,
I'm just glad I don't live in London.
Yeah. Oh, London's, yeah.
It so will be coming here, though, right?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Like, there's no way the ULEZ just, it's a London.
Yeah. Obviously, we're all mates with Fox. I've spent some time with Laurence. Great guy. He let me stay at his after a GB News segment once, and definitely doesn't. No, definitely does not. But he was obviously arrested, and then he's now been, obviously, he was released last night, I believe, and Sky News, of course, reported on that briefly, which he asked him a few questions. So Majid then, after this, of course, said he was innocent, and came out and said Laurence Fox is innocent. Mr. Fox said he would be broadcasting his location. This shows he intended a political protest and arrest on site before committing any crime. So the Met Police has no basis for suspicion of crime. What I find fascinating about this entire ordeal, 6 police officers turning up.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't even get that for a burglary these days anyway. And I believe is it 90% of crimes?
95% of burglaries.
Yeah. So I understand the case for it to be politically almost motivated.
I understand Majid Nawaz's finesse here. This is quite clever. But to be honest with you, it's hard to say that the police don't have any reasonable suspicion.
Yeah.
Since Laurence Fox is like, look, I'm going to commit a bunch of crimes. it's just kind of hard for me to for me to say that they're being unreasonable. I mean, it is. I do think it is tied to kind of the political whirlwind around Fox at the moment.
Yes.
They send 6 boys over there, shake-ups.
Yeah.
No doubt that's the case.
Absolutely.
But, he hasn't helped himself.
No. And I agree.
I do love the idea, though, that they're going to search his house. They're not going to find anything. Maybe the search is electronic devices. Hopefully, he's done the smart thing and there's no contacts on there that would disrupt what those people are doing. And then he could just keep doing it. He could just keep going on live streams, being like, I'm going to commit some crimes. Come on round. And like the 6th time, the boy who cried wolf, eventually they'll stop. And
That's a
like,
great point, actually. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Now I'm free.
Just sit there wasting police time by just announcing you're going to commit crimes.
But you can't be charged with wasting police time because at no point did you call the police.
Yeah, you didn't contact them. You just provoked them because you're politically relevant and Sadiq Khan hates you.
Yeah.
Well, after this, Nigel Farage spoke up, saying this is so wrong and very frightening. Why so many police officers? Great question. And Farage has been quite quiet with everything that's been going on, especially at GB News. So I was surprised to see him come out and say something about this, which was interesting. Neil Oliver came out and said the criminals are in charge. Fair play.
Ulez is criminal.
Indeed, it is very criminal.
Not an argument.
But I noticed something. Chris Packham.
Yeah,
I noticed this. So I put this video out, which we'll listen to in a sec. I put interesting how Chris Packham hasn't had 5 police officers turn up on his doorstep for, quote, conspiracy to commit a crime after releasing a Channel 4 documentary called, quote, Is It Time to Break the Law? Question mark. I'm
just asking questions.
So...
Sorry, just like literally, Chris Packham, I'm going to break the law. Laurence Fox, I'm going to break the law. And only one of these people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, doesn't this guy call for bombings as well?
He does. Well, have we got the clip?
We have. What about the bombings? Or the...
Chris Packham, very sensible person.
Well, Richard read out his quote, so we'll take a listen.
Yeah.
We just quote to you what you say at the very end of the documentary, because this summarizes really what your journey of discovery takes you on. You say, it's time for me to make up my own mind and decide if I should break the law. For me, myself, I'm not asking for anyone to break the law. So long as no one's hurt, I give my support to people who break the law for climate change. I have to raise my voice. I have reached a point where I now consider it ethically the reasonable thing to do. Now, for Chris Packham, mainstream environmentalist, mainstream television presenter in our living rooms most Sundays, if he says that law breaking in this context is ethical and you support it, that is a big step. That's going out on Channel 4 tonight, not some obscure YouTube channel. That's going out on Channel 4. Are you sure you've done the right thing?
Well, look, has Rishi Sunak done the right thing today? We're reining in on our net zero commitments.
Yeah. So he openly said, I'm prepared to commit crimes.
Commit crimes and endorse anyone who does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally one step away from being the Unabomber.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he says, sorry, just to correct, because I remember reading something about bombs. He said, don't worry, Just Stop Oil are not exploding bombs like the IRA, insists Chris Packham. So that's
the only distinction between him and the Unabomber.
It's like, we're not quite there.
Not quite there.
But yeah,
Okay.
It's only a small step. But I love look at Chris Packham's smug face.
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm prepared to break the law because I'm a good person. Fox is breaking the law because he's a bad person.
Yeah.
Big distinction here.
And he didn't even address it. He just went on and started saying Rishi Sunak and net zero.
And the thing is, I mean, I just look at him as a delusional cult.
Oh, of course. Well, most of these eco-fanatics, I say all of them pretty much are in a cult. Of course, The Guardian endorsed it.
Oh, of course. Is it time to break the law? Yes, the bravest
stars.
I did.
5 stars.
5-star review as well from The Guardian.
Yeah.
Remember that this is the same rag who said why Genghis Khan was good for the planet. Did say that once. So
sorry, what?
Yeah.
Okay, the argument here is related to the old one. Genghis Khan killed so many people that it was good for the environment because it reduced carbon output.
Doesn't that say a lot about the climate movement?
By the way, it's now time to break the law to save the climate.
But this is actually kind of the groundwork of them preparing a kind of semi-genocidal regime, actually.
Yeah.
Well, it gives you license.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the groundwork is. And so now it's just, And as the Guardian said, who's brave enough to do it? Chris Packham's brave enough to take the steps. Mainstreaming genocide in
The
order
new
to save the
Khan.
planet.
As the quote says, you are the carbon that they want to reduce.
I mean, they're pretty open about it.
Pretty open.
But what I love about this is a bunch of sort of, white middle class Guardian readers who are like, yeah, we just need to genocide to save the planet. It's like, really? That's fascinating. Try it. Go on. I want to see in action. You live by your beliefs and your words. Let's see where you go with it. Just stop oil militias marching down the streets.
Gosh.
I want to see it.
I'm going to play this tape when it happens.
That's
John Oliver moment being like, Trump, run for office.
But I'll be like, yeah, well, now I get to see it. This is exactly what I wanted. I'll double down.
But yes, why people even read the rag anyway, or take it seriously?
Because they work for the BBC and the BBC buys half their circulation.
Exactly.
That's why.
Yeah. But during the time that Laurence was in,
Genghis
arrested-
Khan is probably one of the most prolific rapists in all of history.
Yeah. And
It's very unlikely that anyone raped as many people individually as Genghis Khan. Just FYI, right? No,
Yeah.
Ignoring all the murders, right? Like literally every year, the Mongols would eradicate a city, right? Sort of Chinese city, an Iranian city, European city, wherever they went, they would just level these cities. They'd spend a couple of days just erasing a city from existence. Then they move on to the next one. And of course, Genghis Khan, literally most prolific murder, something like 6% of Asia is descended from Genghis Khan because of the sheer number of rapes. But he did help the environment.
he did help it. Would you argue this is an endorsement by The Guardian to
Well,
Genghis
how can it
Khan?
not be?
Well,
Like
depends where
Genghis
they go,
Khan
I
was
suppose.
good. Like that's literally.
You want to
I'm
know a
curious.
weird fact about just how bad that situation is as well? So there's a list on Wikipedia of people who've had the most children. And for women, it's the top is like 70, which is ridiculous for a woman. And for a man, obviously Genghis Khan is number one still to this day. And like number two,
Still to this day, as if there should be
no.
a more prolific rapist.
Well,
than
no,
Genghis
because
Khan.
obviously you don't have to rape in the modern day. What you
Yeah, of
do
course.
is so there's a guy who has spent his
Artificial
entire life
insemination.
donating sperm. So he spends every day, presumably, getting sperm into ladies the way he can, which is through the medical process.
Yeah.
And even he hasn't beat Genghis Khan.
No, he's just literally the worst man in all of history.
Yeah.
The Guardian's like how Genghis Khan was good.
An intriguing notion, certainly. Literally, that's what he writes. Maybe not a vote winner for the next Green Party's next manifesto.
But I love that it's for them on the ballot. It's like, look, how can we mainstream Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Step 1, you should break the law. Step
Oh.
2,
Yeah. The Guardian will call you brave. Step 3, Chris Packham will come out on TV and endorse it. Step 4, Genghis Khan style Mongol genocides. I mean, look, there's 40 million people. And that's in a time when the world population was like 10 times lower.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
It's a lot.
insane. Like at this time, if there was 1 billion people on Earth, that's a high estimate.
And I love this little bit as well. But boy, was Genghis green. I can't take it seriously. Like,
But they are going to use this as a justification for atrocities.
yeah.
are they going to run a piece for Hitler as well, or just Genghis?
I mean,
Like, sincerely, I
mean-
bet you could make the argument. It wouldn't be as funny because obiously, like,
in
closer to
700
now.
years' time, there's going to be a Guardian leftist being like, well, listen,
yeah. Look, just hear me out.
not a vote winner yet.
Well, I thought I'd remind people of this article because they are just
Bonkers.
Yeah. I was looking for the
That's what
correct term.
crackers, mate.
No.
Crackers.
But during the time
They've lost their marbles, mate.
Okay, Mark Graham.
I know, right?
Mike Graham.
during the time that Laurence was arrested. Sorry.
It's all right. But they're
During the time.
absolutely lunatics, right? Like, I mean, I just how do we get to the point where we can endorse Genghis Khan?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Such a good meme.
I know.
It's just like they've lost their mind. Wow.
Yeah, I
They're endorsing mass rape.
Oh dear. Luckily, I've got notes, so I haven't lost track. But whilst Laurence was arrested and banged up for a bit, he was unfortunately sacked by GB News, along with Calvin Robinson, where the BBC obviously was quick to make the article.
I almost made a bad joke.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to do with the ULEZ comments. It was actually to do with, of course, the other headlines that have been going around.
As they say, asking what self-respecting man would climb into bed with Ava Evans.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if the foreigners are aware, because this only seemed to blow up in British Twitter, which is our entire political system for the last, 48 hours has been gripped by the deep question of, would you have sex with this woman?
Now, are you allowed to say that you wouldn't have sex with this woman?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's
Do you
really
have the right to deny having sex?
No, do you have the right to say that Ava Evans is not your cup of tea? And the answer has been no. You get 2 people fired, possibly a third.
Did you see Gordon Brown came out and said that you must?
Yeah.
Former Prime Minister turns
This
up on
can't
TV.
be allowed.
Yeah.
It's just okay.
Deary me.
So, yeah.
Yes, Laurence Fox has been sacked by GB News after an outcry about comments he made on air about a female journalist. The former actor and political activist sparked controversy last week when he asked what self-respecting man would climb into bed with Ava Evans. Fox hosted a weekly show on the channel and made some comments while appearing as a contributor on Dan Wootton's show.
Yeah.
I think he's still under investigation.
I love the investigation. Dan Wootton smirked at Lawrence's joke, and they're like, well, we've got a 4-day investigation ahead of us. It's like, what's the investigation? Anyway, Dan, you're guilty of smirking at a joke. How do you plead?
Yes. And of course, Calvin, which I believe you have on very soon. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is great. So I'm sure he'll go through everything that's going on in
Yeah.
greater detail. But he said, how can a station keep calling itself the home of free speech when it continues to engage in cancel culture? I supported my friends/colleagues and will continue to do so. That should not be a fireable offence. GB News is controlled opposition. I think they really set the precedent with Mark Stein and the way they treated him, with him just talking about things related to mRNA. So,
because I mean, Calvin literally just came out and said, "I don't think you should fire Laurence Fox."
Yeah,
is that actually all he did?
I think he did. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he did. Did he say that they're idiots or something
Possibly,
on Twitter?
but I mean,
obviously,
yeah.
But
But
it's his
like,
opinion.
I mean,
I
it
agree.
literally is just like I stand in solidarity with my friend who I don't
Yeah.
think is getting just desserts.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, you're gone." It's like,
Yeah.
but what did he do? You can't even like oppose the executive decisions of the management of GB News.
It's not even that. He just questioned it. It was just like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah,
I think you should have a right to say no. No means no.
absolutely. Well, you can support
Gordon Brown's on our
Calvin.
ass. We've got to do something.
Oh dear. Well, you can support Calvin. He set up a Give, Send, Go because obviously he has bills to pay.
Yep.
He's doing very well.
Yeah, that's great.
Very, very well, which is great. On givesendgo.com/home of cancel culture, which you can send a prayer. And if you wanted to give, then you can. It's up to you.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Symposium series, this one on Machiavelli's Discourses on Livy. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.